Hello, everybody, and welcome back. So, today we have one hell of an interview set up. I am super excited to bring this to you. Folks, we have an incredible guest. We have none other than Kane Pixels himself. Kane, how are you doing today? Good to see you.
Hello, it's great to be here.
Well, I'm certainly happy to have you here, and I know that you have an incredibly busy schedule as of late. And when is it not busy? But your emotions are probably way up in the stratosphere at this point because you just hit 2 million subscribers.
Yeah, it's too big a number to even start to comprehend.
For me, it was just like the fact that everything happened so fast, and then on top of that, you had like everybody was just being inspired by it. There's just like, dude, there's just so many
Yeah,
things
like
that have happened.
last year. Yeah, I think it was all mostly spring. It spilled over into the later parts of the year too, but God, spring of last year was it was insane with exactly what you were saying. It was like it's gotten to 2 million pretty quickly, but it went from I think just barely 200,000 to a million in like a little over a month and a half, which was just absurd.
And was that
Uh,
from the first found
yeah,
footage?
that was from Found Footage One and the subsequent, like the few videos right
Jesus,
after it.
that's
It was
wild,
sort of Found Footage One and Missing Persons that were really pushing it along.
man. That is absolutely insane. And then after that, it was just so many people were inspired to create things afterwards too. There was just so many things that just you were a catalyst for so many people as well, and not just for like backrooms content but for other things. Like I remember there's like friends of mine who were inspired by watching your stuff, and they started creating things, and it wasn't necessarily like backrooms content, it was like other things like that. So it's insane how it's not just like, okay, you got your subscriber base and everything like that, but then you also have been a catalyst for so many other people, and that's got to
Yeah,
feel really
it's
good.
oh, absolutely. It's jarring knowing that it's because you don't fully get a sense of exactly how big of a reach this has had.
Yeah.
Like what is it, like 43 million? Like again, with the numbers, I can't even begin to comprehend that amount. But really, that's a lot of people, and it's been crazy over the past year. Like seeing that just in normal conversation, tons of people that I'm just talking to. I'm not probing for it because that would be weird, but like most people I know have seen the video, which is just insane. So the reach it's had, even if people aren't like directly fans, is just that's the best part, honestly. Just having an impact on the wider creative
Mhm.
culture is really what I've always wanted.
Yeah. And now that you mentioned that, even my own father, whenever I talk to him, like I hardly get a chance to talk to him because I'm so busy with work and everything. But when I do get a chance to talk to my dad, there's been times where he'll like send me a text message and it'll be like a thumbnail about, the back rooms. And he'd be like, be like, Los back rooms. And I was just like, yes. It's like, so like he doesn't even know what it is, but once, I started checking it out, he got interested and he's been watching it. So
Oh,
it,
that's
it just
awesome.
like, he doesn't even know what the hell's going on, but he just loves it. So it is
Yeah, that's.
it is definitely hitting people that, have any, that don't even look for that stuff.
I think that's like the most interesting part to me is that there's so many people who don't usually seek out this kind of content who are into it. Uh, like usually, I've sort of grown up watching uh, either ARG web series stuff or
Hmm.
the channels covering them. And those have always been fairly niche, more like kept on its own sort of horror corner
Yeah.
of the internet. Uh, but I feel like this is totally just like shattered out of that. And now, like, my friends of my parents and stuff talk about how they're just casually watching it. Like, it's weird. I mean, like, good weird.
Yeah.
But it's interesting how it's actually, uh, I feel like it's just, I think it's I feel like a lot of those series fall into the territory of being too cryptic to fully enjoy watching in a super comfortable way.
Mm.
And while my series definitely is cryptic, I think it is just coherent enough for people to sit down and have a mysterious but logical viewing experience. So that's probably the reason.
There is definitely that ease of access for people, and I feel like that is the main reason for its success. I feel like that's where all this attention is coming from. So that's really good. Whether or not you planned on it being that way, it's
I think
definitely
it's
worked
just
out.
this natural way I go about creating, I guess.
Yeah. So I did want to touch base on like process and stuff like that when it comes to the back rooms, and not just the back rooms, but everything that you do, because this particular conversation is not just going to be whether or not if I was right about specific theories or not, but like I just want to get to know where everything came from and how that process has been unfolding for you. So one of the first things that I wanted to ask, and I'm sure this has been asked many, many, many times, but how did it all start?
Way before I would consider myself conscious. I've been, I was doing stuff with cameras when I was, I don't even know what age, too young to remember.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the standard story of just playing around with like a household camcorder, then like using discarded like disposable cameras, and then maybe an old like Android phone, and then eventually I got an iPad, and I was messing around with those like very cheap like VFX apps where it just like overlays like a car crash. Over,
You talking about the one with like the guns like shooting and the explosions?
Yeah. The airstrike. Yeah, no, there are videos on my channel from that era because I have like 400 privated videos that I don't think are ever going to see the light of day. But that's the sort of stuff that's the sort of stuff I was making back in 2015 when so I was a bit older then, like but still not yeah, that was a lot of fun. But I sort of learned iMovie, Windows Movie Maker, sort of just kept figuring out new things. I was sort of at the age where I was never being too self-critical. Like obviously at that age, you're not gonna nitpick that much. So I just sort of, but I kept at it, and I did it so much that I was able to sort of progress, like genuinely improve, while also my standards were raising. So it was sort of, they were raising together. So I was never really in a state of feeling like my work was, I didn't like my work. Even if looking back now, it was a bit sloppy, or I wouldn't have felt proud of it now. But I think feeling that way always gave me the motivation to keep moving forward. And that sort of, I sort of plateaued with, I feel like my skills have sort of hit a point where it sort of leveled out around 2020, late 2019. Definitely, they have improved significantly since then, but relative to what they were, it definitely slowed down exponentially. Where in 2020, I was able to, that's when I taught myself Blender. I didn't use any Blender before that. I mostly just did everything in After Effects before. I used, there was some 3D in my stuff. I used the tool Element 3D for After Effects, which is very, very cool, but it's a lot more rudimentary. But I taught myself Blender during COVID. I was like taking online Zoom classes, and I would have my screen divided. With one side, the Zoom meeting, and the other side, Blender, and I would be making something. And I just, like, most of 2020 was just sort of me messing around, doing whatever I wanted to do. But then 2021 started, and I was back into Attack on Titan. And I won't get into that. We're not here for this, and I won't get too heavy into the creative side of that. But I wanted to make something that reflected what I felt was like the true nature of the series that I thought was kind of distilled out of it, or I felt like the tone that I imagined in the manga, the original version in my mind, I felt was kind of lost on most of the fans, especially because of the anime.
Yeah.
And well, it's not a bad thing. It's definitely a cool series either way. I felt like I wanted to do something to bring out that sort of raw, realistic, just terrifying feeling, rather than that like badass action, flying around with swords, dramatic music feeling. So that's what that series was about. Just sort of what would this look like if it was in the real world, um, with the technology they had at the time. And so that did very well. That's what really pushed my channel to 100,000, and then 200,000 eventually by the end of 2021. At that point, I started Backrooms Found Footage. Actually, there's so many moving parts to this, but if you want me to lead into how I got the idea for Backrooms,
I remember, that famous picture from such a long time ago. Wait, I say such a long time ago, but I don't know.
2019.
Like 2019, but I think it's because 2020 really like put like 5 years into like just into the just 1 year. It just felt awful all the way through. So a lot, it just felt a lot longer. Maybe that's why. But yeah. So if you want to go ahead and just kind of lead into that and let us know like how it all started and the inspiration to kickstart Found Footage 1.
Yeah. So I, like most people who were aware of the Backrooms, sort of saw it as a meme originally, as it appeared in 2019. I think it was like May, June-ish when the image with the caption came about. And that sort of circulated. I wasn't on Instagram at the time, so I don't know exactly where I saw it, but I saw it and I remembered it, and me and my friends sort of would joke about it. It wasn't anything like mind-blowing. It was just a fascinating little thing on the internet, one of a million other things I would see at the time. But it definitely had a quality that stuck with you, and that was my first exposure to the formalized concept of liminal spaces.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's something that is liminal spaces are everywhere. It's the name just wasn't really prevalent until then. But after that point, over the next couple years, I wasn't one of the people. I didn't know this going into making found footage, but I guess there were a good handful of people who like created the wikis and the groups discussing levels and all that. I was completely ignorant to all of that. I just knew the image, and I knew I was aware that people would like kind of make their own, or just say like, if you go this way in the back rooms, you'll end up in this room. But it was all just like random Google images I would find. It wasn't like I didn't think too deeply into it. But eventually, like after watching a bunch of those like strangely familiar images with like FNAF ambience videos, because those really got me interested in liminal spaces, as I think that's sort of where a lot of people became aware of them. It sort of simmered.
That seems to be a good correlation back, during that time when both of those concepts were around.
Yeah, that was mostly like 2020. I was into that, or if you want to say into it, I wasn't doing anything with it. I was just peripherally aware of it. But it simmered for a while, and then it definitely stuck with me, as it did with most people. But in around the end of 2021, I came across one of it wasn't the original Backrooms image, but it was another one that's meant to look like the standard yellow Backrooms. And I found that on my hard drive, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about the Backrooms. And that sort of sent me down like another rabbit hole of liminal space images, just because it's an itch you want to scratch sometimes when you get it. And that was when I was in between projects. I had just finished my last Attack on Titan video, and so I had some free time. I was going into Thanksgiving break, and I thought, hey, why don't I try to recreate one of these liminal space environments? Because obviously they resonate with so many people. It would be interesting to try to capture that feeling. So I did a single shot from inside the Backrooms, because that's obviously the most prevalent liminal space, I would say, out there on the internet. And that shot, you can see in my Instagram, it's still there.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, it shows up in the final video. It's the shot of the chair hitting the wall, like that jump scare shot.
Yeah.
So I didn't have an outline. I sort of built the video around that.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. See that. Oh, okay. So keep going. I got another question for you after
Not
you go
completely
through.
Though. I could have integrated it better. I sort of but again, the production standards were much lower on the first episode, because I didn't know what a big deal it would end up being. I sort of thought of it as a one-off.
Yeah.
But I'll add more to that. I did the first shot, posted it online. People liked it. Didn't really matter what people thought. I was into it. I wanted to make more regardless. So I set out on making the full video. I planned on like a 10-minute short film. That's what it ended up being.
Yeah.
I spend so much time with the stuff I make, like it's all encompassing in my life. So it's very rare for me to make something that's just surface level. I always like to have people love to use the word lore. I feel like that's a bit of a cheap word. I think it doesn't act, I don't know, to me it's just story, but I always like to add more depth to the things I make.
Yeah.
With anything, even if it's not like brought attention to. You can see it in the shorter series like Project 209 on my channel. There's lots of little things that allude to plot points that you guys probably aren't even aware of, but they existed in my mind, and they were things that I could potentially explore if I wanted to. So I planted a handful of things in Found Footage 1, some of which we've seen lightly touched on a bit. Some of them more so. But so I was aware that it could be a larger series, and I was sort of combining many ideas. I had a lot of other ideas floating around in the back of my head for other stories, and those ended up sort of materializing into the async storyline as I realized like Backrooms could be the perfect way to tell that story.
Gotcha.
It was sort of taking the place of something else I originally had for all that. But after I posted the first one and saw the response it got, later that day, literally same day, I put out archive.tar, the hidden video, in the description of Found Footage 1. It didn't go up at the same time. That came out that evening.
Okay.
And it's that is an unlisted video, and it has 2 million views, which is it's more than my current videos can get.
That's insane.
Yeah, but I mean the main video has like 45, so
yeah, that's
not surprising, but still,
that's a hefty one.
Yeah, really. I like that. I like the duo, the first two. I feel like it would. I walked right into a good setup, and it's definitely resonated. So, it's in the days following, people definitely. It was clear they wanted to see more of this after they saw archive.tar. There were some reaction videos popping up, and that sort of clued people in that maybe there's more to this than they thought. And like I'm setting up a story, and I thought I could do that. I wasn't planning on it because again, like it was doing well at this time, but it wasn't like viral well. So given the amount of work I had to put in being a student in school, it took a little bit more than that to actually convince me to go fully ahead with it.
Yeah.
But as soon as like Jacksepticeye made a video, that was like full green light, and
you're like, okay.
I forget if that was before or after I did third test, but yeah, I sort of started dedicating everything to that, and the more I dedicated, the more popular it got, and the more I dedicated. So it resulted in a point where my entire life became Backrooms. Well, not entirely. I still upheld school and everything, but because I am very meticulous with all that stuff, I can't handle letting some things slide. So that all went very well for. I just sort of rode that wave for the year. Yeah, I think you know the story from there, honestly.
Yeah, and one of the things that I was wondering about was how like the balancing act is for you, because you've got everything dealing with class, you've got everything dealing with just life in general, and then you have this gigantic monster that I mean, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but you've got this huge like concept that you're working on. And like, how do you divide your days strict? Like, are you very strict when it comes to like, okay, I need to block this time for this time, or do you just kind of do you wing it a little bit?
I would like to say, I think I wing it mostly, but I wing it, but I wing it the same way every day, pretty much.
Gotcha.
So I guess you could call it a routine.
Yeah.
And in general, like in the moment, I'm pretty strict with myself on most things. Like I don't let myself linger on social media or anything. Like there's only so many hours in a day. So I always try to, if I find myself not doing something productive for like a minute or two, I sort of try to snap myself back to reality and force myself to go work on something. I mean, I have been able to put a lot more time into it, past few months, I haven't unfortunately been able to take advantage of it because I've been like repeatedly sick and stuff, and
Yeah, man.
applying to colleges as well. That was very draining, but that's all behind me now. So
Oh yeah.
big things coming. Um, but really, I think it all balanced quite well. I felt like school was a good way to keep me uh, in a good, healthy flow
Yeah.
because, like, I mean, otherwise I'm just standing here. I have a stand-up desk. I'm just standing here at my computer all day. Not all day, but like you just sort of get sucked into the work, and that's not healthy. So I feel like school is it's a good back and forth.
Yeah. When it comes to the creative process, there can be a very strong tunnel vision that can
Mm-hmm.
occur, and I've definitely been there in the past, and I completely understand that. When it comes to, okay, you need to break away, so it's always good to have a good balance between things, and that's that even boils down to just creating other things on top of what just keeping your creativity going, but then also balancing yourself out so you don't feel too burnt out.
Uh, no, I love working on the series. It's a lot of fun. Like if I have homework, which I wish I didn't, that's the one thing. I like going to school, but I hate when it follows me home.
Yeah.
So that sort of forced me in a position of like doing a lot of homework at school to try to just get it all done as soon as possible, which takes away from the whole social aspect. So um, you got to make compromises though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, but what was I going to say? I completely just lost it. Huh.
It's gone.
It's gone. It's gone.
Well, let me ask you this: music. It's not
Music,
just.
that's what I was going to
Is
say.
that where you were gonna go? Okay,
I was
because
going to go and say that like that's what I do to procrastinate, or like when I need a break from the serious work, even though I enjoy it. Like there's like two levels of procrastination. I'll procrastinate homework by working on the Backroom series,
yeah,
and if I'm really burnt out on the Backroom series, I'll procrastinate by working on music.
there's nothing better than to just disconnect, but with music, creating music. I I really enjoy doing that as well. I haven't done it in a long, long time, but I really would like to start all over again. But it's definitely, when it comes to creating music and or drawing and things like that, all of those are just fantastic ways to still maintain your creativity, but then take away and disconnect from kind of like your main possible burnout point, so
Yeah.
that's really interesting that you say that that's kind of how you disconnect and relax a bit when it comes to working on things, or you procrastinate, but in reality
Yeah.
you're still keeping yourself fresh with creativity and possibly leading into things, or stuff like that, but then also taking a break from the overall narrative that you have constantly flowing in your head.
Yeah. Actually, it's not just actually that's I can't really escape the Backrooms narrative. Whenever I draw or like daydream or anything, it always goes back to that because
Yeah.
I've set up something that's going to take a long time to do the way like complete the way I want to complete it because it
Yeah.
is quite dense. Uh, Not in a bad way. I don't think I am just very meticulous with the way I tell the story. Like the whole series on YouTube so far is only a couple of months. Like it's within the span of like 3 or so. Uh, Actually, yeah, within the span of like three or so. Um, but there's so much just like uh, not boring, but it's very heavy in detail, and that's what I like. I want to try to tell the story thoroughly, even if it
Yeah.
like could be faster. That's not what I want to do. That's not my goal.
Yeah.
I want to do something that is uh, just very fleshed out.
and
Um,
and fulfilling to you.
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know
definitely. That's
yeah.
it's really just this. I'm doing it for me. Like I love that people love it. That's sort of the thing that keeps the fire going.
Hmm.
But in the end, it's sort of just a big itch I'm trying to scratch with
Yeah,
this series.
and we can tell if
So
you're enjoying yourself and if you're
Oh
not,
yeah.
everybody can tell, like, as long as you still enjoy what you're doing and you get that sense of fulfillment and you're content, then the series will continue to give you what you need, and people will see that, people will enjoy that.
I love making music. That's a great outlet, but also listening to it too.
Oh
It's
yeah.
sort of uh, very meditative, being able to like for me, I have a very clear like mind's eye, so I'm able to like sort of storyboard all the scenes I want in my head while I'm listening to music. For some reason, it's a lot harder without some sort of uh,
Noise.
background noise.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if I'm listening to music, this is actually a funny way I go about creating uh, plots and elements I use in my own series. Um, Sometimes I'll just do it with random stories, but it has helped a lot with Backrooms. If I'm just listening to a soundtrack from something, let's say Mr. Robot, because I've listened, God, like that's my most listened to album, I think, for the past year,
It's so good.
or collection of albums. Mac Quail is awesome.
Mhm.
Uh, so I get a bit obsessive with soundtracks to things I like, but listen to that or regular music. And sometimes I always am picturing a scenario, but sometimes it will be a scenario that pertains to my series. And it might be something outlandish, like something that wouldn't quite be feasible for it,
Mhm.
but I'll still like get into it and like I'll replay the music, like go back a few seconds if I wanted to get like a certain shot in my head right. And then I do that same story. I'm locked into that story every time I hear that song. And eventually I'm thinking of that storyline as part of the series. And before you know it, I found a way to like write it in and it's it's already part of the story. So that's happened a couple times with different things that have shown up in the series. And uh, it's more so for bigger things that'll happen in the future, but uh, that's a lot of fun.
So we're fresh off of talking about your 2 million subscriber milestone, which is incredible, by the way. That's, you can't even, that's insurmountable.
It's
Um,
insane.
it's insane. But as of Monday morning, you dropped an amazing link to a news article on Deadline about a Backrooms movie being created.
Yes, I have been waiting to share this almost since almost a year at this point. Really, like it hasn't been planned. Like I didn't know I was going to be with A24, who you didn't mention that, but that's who it's with,
That is
which I'm
amazing.
super thrilled about. Um, but I've been working on this in the background ever since like last February, even. So it's been a long time coming. Haven't been able to talk about it, but now I finally can. Super excited, and this is what I really believe is the it has been the plan from the beginning for this to be the next step in the Backrooms storyline, with the found footage videos as in everything that is my YouTube series more acting as like a precursor or like foundation
Yeah,
for what's to come.
that's that's
Not
amazing.
not to devalue it though.
No, no, not at all. I mean, you need that foundation, and it's a really strong one at that. But the whole idea of you working with A24 is incredible. When I hear A24, I think about Hereditary, I think about Midsummer, I think about The Lighthouse, and some of my favorite movies that are out there. And that actually makes me feel really happy that that is who you're going to be working with. Like,
Yeah, I think it's
what better
perfect.
combination? Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, the response I've seen from it, I mean, today is day one, so I really can't speak to a lot of what the production will be like because
Mhm.
that's all to come. But in our few interactions so far with A24, it's super exciting seeing how they seem to really want to be giving me a platform to tell or express this vision for the series how I want, and they don't seem to be too eager to put their own corporate spin on it, which I'm really happy about.
That's good.
So it's thrilling from that perspective, and
Yeah.
it's been great seeing just today how positive of a response it's gotten online.
I know that when the news dropped, it was like I could tell, like that initial reaction was like, oh, I don't know. Wait a minute, A24. Okay. And there was just like there was a sense of relief for like a lot of people who, you know, they really care about the series and everything that it has, you know, become over the year. And that's just it's just incredible to me that that is the opportunity that you have now. And I guess you may have already answered this several times already, but just to kind of clarify for my own sake and anybody else that's listening, when it comes to like the script and everything, is that going to be on your end? Are you going to be writing the script, or you be like consulting? Is somebody else doing it? And are you directing? Like, what are the just kind of like the specifics for all that?
So I will not be writing the screenplay. I believe many people have noticed that, and that's one of the points that I do want to address because I can see how that could be concerning. Um, it is being written by Roberto. That's one of the main points I want to touch on because I feel like
Yeah.
seeing that someone else will be writing this film is probably going to raise some red flags for some people.
Hmm.
But I want to assure you all that it is my story, and I'm working closely with the writer. And it's definitely, it's not like it's going to be going in the direction, it's going to be staying in the same direction it has been. The overarching story has not changed because of this film existing. um it is, the situation here is I'm so thrilled with it because it's really letting me just do more of what I'm already doing.
Hmm.
And Roberto, the guy who is writing, he's great. He really seems to understand the source material, and we are going to be working on the same page, communicating frequently, and uh, so it is going to still be my story.
It's still going to be your baby. So that's
Yes.
yeah. Okay. I know that a lot of folks were most likely concerned about, you know, that particular specific
Hmm.
um, you know, point of
Yeah,
the
because
movie.
I can, and then I will also be directing, and I think the articles make that pretty apparent. But
Yeah.
um, so overall, yeah, it's it's a beyond amazing opportunity here for me. I'm super grateful for everyone who's taking a chance on this. Um, but really, I'm ready to give it my all, and this is what I feel like I've been preparing for with the series because this is sort of the direction I've always wanted it to go in. So it's the right step. It's not a sudden spur of the moment thing that may tear the series apart. I mean, if it does, it's not because of me, guys. It's capitalism.
As I said before earlier this morning, it's not just, you know, it's a humongous success and a big thing for you. You know, that's incredible, life
Thank
changing
you.
even. And
Oh, yeah, this is definitely the most life changing day of my life. So
but but also, you know, it's a big day for internet horror as well. Like the whole idea of something from YouTube. I'm not saying that things from YouTube can't be taken seriously, but I mean, this is a big deal, you know?
yeah, and I'm really hoping it starts to set a new precedent. I mean, we've seen a few things like this in the past. Like it's not a completely foreign concept to see
No.
something from the internet sprout up, but I think what really helps this project is how seriously rooted in online culture this is. Like
Hmm.
it's, I've seen other online horror films that were posted on YouTube that get adapted into feature films, but I think this comes completely from an online place. And my series was online for a while. It wasn't just one film, and it had elements of, it wasn't an, it's not an ARG, but it definitely, it speaks to that crowd. And I think it's come to life in a way that I just haven't really seen before.
It's going to be an amazing moment for anybody out there who could potentially have the same. It's going to open up, you know, a lot of doors, right? So I feel like it's going to open up a lot of doors for
Yes.
other creators that are out there. There's a ton of other internet horror series that are out there, analog horror series. There's so many out there, and I feel like this is going to be a big deal because I mean, and like you said before, I feel like A24 is kind of setting that bar where for us, we're just like, okay, this is serious business. Something from YouTube can be taken this seriously and brought to everybody, and respectfully too. And I feel like that's the great thing about this right now.
Really, I think now we're seeing anyone has the ability to come up with an interesting story, and the internet and technology is at a place where anyone can do that and anyone can share it. And that's what I did. That's what millions of other people are doing. And I feel like we're at the start of a bit of a switch
Mm-hmm.
where, I mean, it's been switching for few years now. I mean, slowly, but I feel like we're starting to hit a bit of exponential growth here.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's always going to be a wall because little guy isn't the one with the money.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know exactly. It's late right now, so I can't quite get into the predictions for how the economy of the film industry will work over the next few decades. But I think it is a little bit overly optimistic to think that suddenly just the internet's going to replace Hollywood and all that. I think Hollywood will survive for a while,
Yeah.
and or at least will mutate into something else. And I think it's always going to be a corporation, as far as I can tell. I mean, if it has a market, people are going to be building
Yeah.
businesses around that, and I think that's fine. That's just part of human existence. We can't really stop that, um, but I think audience members don't care where they're getting their media from. They're going to watch both things,
Yeah.
and I think really, while it is harder to get that many eyes on your stuff online, if you keep at it, and if you just, I mean, there's no like surefire way to get that attention, but if you keep at it, the likelihood that you will get that attention goes up significantly with every post.
So, Kane, given all of this news today, I also read that you're going to start. I guess. Well, I don't know if production has already started now, or is it going to start in the summer? And is the filming just going to be over the summer? Like, is that just how long you're going to be working on it, or is it going to be past the summer that it's going to be worked on?
Yeah, so the production has not started yet, and I can't guarantee a start date at all for that.
Gotcha.
We are going to be beginning on the. We're not going to be literally writing the script tomorrow, but Roberto and I are convening, and we're going to begin uh, prepping the script, correcting the outline, and then going ahead with that. Then when that's done, there's some other pre-production things we need to get to. But I think the idea that I'm going to be filming in the summer, specifically over my summer vacation, as the Deadline article jokes about,
Yeah, I know.
it's been taken pretty literally by a lot of other people, and now some of the other articles, like I don't know who exactly, but it's written as in like I'm matter of fact, I'm going to be doing it over like these 2 months, July, August. This is when over his summer break. Kane's doing
Yeah.
it over his summer break. These are the months it'll be filmed, and that's pretty funny because I don't think we can account for. Uh, it's pretty up in the air. I don't know when we're going to be doing it.
Yeah, I read that and I was like,
That would be awesome. That would be awesome because I love to move quickly on these things.
around the clock. If it's
Yeah, no,
just those
this is
months.
my whole life. I'm gonna have so much dead time just waiting around. I
That's
hope
right.
not. I hope not. But like, this stuff is my life.
One of the things that I was curious about was just the overall format of how things are going to be released for the YouTube channel. Are we going to see a slowdown of episodes, or are we just going to get like a different type of release?
Yeah.
From the YouTube channel. Is it going to be like teasers or more cryptic messages? I guess towards the release of the movie.
So right now, I can't say anything with certainty,
Dang.
but I can give. So I technically won't be allowed to make Backrooms videos without authorization from A24.
Gotcha.
However, which obviously makes sense, it won't be my IP, but I was aware of that. I've been planning around that, and it seems quite possible that I could definitely get clearance to make specific episodes for specific reasons in the downtime.
Okay.
And so I want to be able to do that. Who knows if I'll be, I mean, I might be so busy with other stuff. I just won't have time, and I'll feel good because really it's all for me just to fill my time with creative work. That's
Yeah.
why I do this stuff. So,
Yeah.
but I hate leaving. I hate the idea of leaving the audience just high and dry for a few months, or longer. God, I hope it's not longer. But because I really want to be getting you guys more stuff because there's a lot to tell with this story, and I feel like it'd be a waste not to. Because there's so many things that can only be told through the found footage medium. And I should have expressed this earlier, but the film will not be found footage. Um, it will be cinematic in async. Um, so,
Interesting.
but there's so much that's, I don't want to say wasted potential, but like found footage 3, like there's a lot of things that I would want to do in that obviously I'm not like, it couldn't possibly be saved for the movie, so there's no harm in showing it on YouTube, I feel like. But still, there is red tape, but I think they're pretty open to letting me walk over that just because they want to support my vision, which is really kind, and it's so awesome. I really appreciate it, A24. Thank you if you're listening, which I'm assuming you're probably not, but
well, it sounds like, there seems to be a lot of leeway. There's a lot of movement that you can do. You don't feel
yes.
as constricted.
I feel more free than I have in a long time today.
That's amazing.
Because
That's a good feeling.
Now, yeah, like, because I probably am going to, assuming I don't get inundated with like Backrooms film stuff immediately, I really want to try my hand at like just because I've been not stuck on, because I love the Backrooms, I love the entire series, but I have been pretty much glued to it for over a year now.
Oh yeah.
And before that, it was Attack on Titan, and I've had very few. It's been like 2 years since I've like properly done an original story on my channel, and not, I mean, like original, like completely separate of any pre-existing thing.
Yeah.
So I really want to try my hand at just doing some like one-off short films, some just
good.
I don't know, just try whatever. I have a number of things, but it's gonna be a mixed bag.
That's really exciting.
Or maybe I'll do nothing. Maybe I'll be too busy.
Maybe you'll just rest.
No, that's ridiculous.
I knew that was going to be the response. Like, no, man.
I finished a project. I finish a video, and like I can enjoy the evening of that, of like finishing the video. The next day, I read the comments and look at reaction videos, and like that's all fun. And maybe I get a second day of that, just get some downtime, like hang out on Discord. Day 3, like the voices are like they're itching to start making something new,
like do something, get up.
No, like I get bored, and I need to, I guess I'm just lucky to have that motivation going so constantly. But yeah, I
just got to keep moving.
Just love making stuff. I love being active.
I'm the same way. I can't stand still for too long, and I've got people in my life who are just like, dude, like, are you okay? I'm like, like it's like, just sit down.
Me to like, no, but I got a standing desk. No, I got to be able to be mobile at all times.
Same here. So like, I can't. No, there's no sitting down. I don't even take naps.
Yeah, me neither. Like if the few times I've ever taken a nap, I've woken up with like a horrible headache. And the world feels like it's ending.
Like, what's the point? Like, I'm just like not doing anything for like 20 minutes, and plus that just means if I take a nap, I'm just gonna end up like just staying awake when I should be asleep, and then my sleep schedule's all screwed up. But I don't know, but it's also just rooted in the fact that I just want to be doing things,
To anyone listening though, like, I hate sleep. It's boring, but you got to do it. You got to get good at.
You got to get good sleep
for 8 hours, 8 hours every night, and if you don't have that, everything else is going to sort of crumble around you.
I'm the worst when it comes to sleep. Like I feel like, yes, that is the message I should send across, but I don't practice what I preach. I probably on average get 4 to 6 hours of sleep.
Okay, well, I take it back. Everything won't crumble around you, but you'll probably feel better if you did get that sleep.
You know, I don't think I should do that anymore at my age. I feel like it will crumble eventually, like one of these days. So I really should change that. I really should. Maybe after this interview, I should probably have that introspective moment to just be like, okay, you should freaking sleep, man. Go to bed.
Making coffee at 8 p.m.
Oh yeah, I'm on my third cup at 8 already. Yeah, and I've already had like 3 other cups before. Yeah, it's a problem. Maybe we know what the problem is.
I wonder.
But you know what? Caffeine helps me just like stay concentrated. Like it's the way for me. It's the way for me.
It helps in the mornings for me.
Absolutely. Well, with everything, you know, with this amazing news, do you feel like there could potentially be, I know this is like going beyond the film itself, but like, do you feel like after the movie's released, you could potentially return back into the seat? And I know this is way far off, but is that a thought that you've had, you know, during this?
Back how?
Like, let's say the movie gets released, everything happens, you know, async disappears and explodes. No, I don't know what'll end up happening, but like, you know, Ivan Beck makes their appearance, and then, you know, the movie is over, but then, you know, the story continues. Maybe, I don't know.
The movie is not a finale of any kind.
That was gonna be my next question. So okay.
Yes,
right.
the movie is. This is. I'm not gonna. Yeah, this may be me being ambitious, but I am just being very hopeful for this. This is very much not very much but it is a film that is accessible to new audiences who have never watched my shorts. Definitely, you will have a much better viewing experience as someone who has kept up with the series. Not because it'll be easier to follow or anything, but just because it'll. I want to do a lot of. There'll be a lot of things to find. It's not like I'm gonna be cutting down on the hidden secrets and interconnectedness that you see in the shorts, but definitely the goal here is to introduce the universe to a wider audience in a more cinematic light, and then, assuming it does well, my ultimate goal is to get a limited series. That's really the only proper way I can see ending this series, or going like properly progressing through the story I want to tell. But honestly, it could be done in so many ways that another film could work, another 2 films. But I don't know. There's a handful of ways, because I tell these stories. I love to find stories within stories, and then stories within that. So I feel like you can it's a fractal of narratives that I can like pull so many stories out of any little corner of the little universe that I've created with Async and the Backrooms, that I'm not worried about running out of material or like stretching things out.
There's so much to work with, and after everything that you've done so far, there's plenty. I feel, you know, and if there isn't, you can create it. You know, there's definitely a lot to work with there. One of the questions that I had as well was, are we going to see similar faces in the movie, or will there be?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it would probably be easy to recast the people we've seen in the series so far, but I just hate stuff like that. Like, if I've seen them in the YouTube series, I want to see the same faces in the movie, even if
I would feel that's really important. Yeah.
Yeah, if they don't have even if they don't have like big roles or anything, I definitely want them to be present, and I want there to be a feeling of continuation from the shorts. I don't want the movie to feel like it is like in its own universe or anything, because it is absolutely just, it's part of the exact same canon. Like, I would like it to all be one seamless viewing experience, ideally. But yeah, so the goal is to see if I can get the actors back.
Sweet. Hopefully we'll get that Maxwell.
Some of them I definitely could. Oh yeah.
Hopefully we'll get that Maxwell hallway scene.
Yeah, we're getting that hallway. I love that hallway. I'm gonna just like have it pulled from the building it's in real life. Fly it down.
I need that hallway right now. Well, I feel like we've touched base on the movie itself enough. I'm going to not try to pry too much for the next several months because I always want to find out more. But once again, I'm very proud of you, man. It's an incredible. Yeah, it's an incredible opportunity, and just I don't know if you noticed, but did you see that Hideo Kojima actually retweeted the story about your movie?
Huh?
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah. Go look on Twitter.
So he did.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's crazy.
so Kojima is aware.
It blows my mind seeing that like all these people just like randomly like will just suddenly follow me or like just retweet something. They're like, oh, they've been watching this. They've been keeping touch. That's pretty cool.
I wonder what Ivan even looks like.
Yeah, I know what he looks like.
Man, when that day arrives, I wonder.
I feel like I've hyped him up so much. People are gonna be expecting him to show up. I'm just gonna permanently have the character with a censored face.
Just walking around, it's just like two like big, blocks on his head. Okay, well that's him. All right, that's how he just walks around. He just walks around with a box on his head.
He walks into walls.
Is he okay? No. Here's one of the things that I want to do with with us having this chat here is I know that there's been several ideas thrown around or just I guess there's been several things that people have said that you have said, and one of them is that we have already seen the ending. Is that true? We have seen
when I say that,
uh-huh.
I think did I say that on an interview or did I say that on Discord?
I don't know.
I think I said that on Discord. Yeah,
maybe.
I say some of these things kind of tongue in cheek.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Don't take if you see a screenshot with me saying something on the Discord, like know that it could be either biased or not biased. Could be missing context or it could be just me trolling. But I did somewhat mean that. I did mean that in a way. Obviously, it wouldn't make sense now. Like it's not like you saw the ending scene. Like this is the last scene of the series and you've just seen it. It's not like that, but you've seen fingerprints of the ending.
Gotcha. Okay, and I just wanted to clarification on that because I know that I've seen that float around. Oh, we've seen the ending, and people are like, oh, it's this episode, it's this episode, and even for me, like I was just thinking to myself, I feel like, maybe
it's not so literal.
I feel like maybe 2 specific episodes may be the ones that are kind of hinting towards the end, but
do you want to say? And I won't respond, but I'm just curious if you have them in mind.
In my honest opinion, I feel like Found Footage 1 and 2 are sort of
those are the latest in the timeline.
Yeah, so I feel like those kind of hint towards an ending of sorts or an end result, but not necessarily the ending. And you're just saying because you're agreeing with me. You're not saying
because I'm hearing your thoughts.
Those are thoughts. I know a lot of folks have talked about that, and I honestly feel like that is a really cool thing. Like, even if we have seen the ending already, I would just be blown away. Like as soon as like that connection happens, years down the line or something like that, I would just be like, yes, that's what it was. That's so cool. And that's what I love about this series. And, that being able to kind of connect all those dots. And again, I am who I am and I enjoy jumping into things and kind of, picking things apart a little bit, but I don't like to pick things apart too much because I really don't want it to just kind of appear and for me to figure it out.
Things, it can sort of crumble if you get too granular.
But. Yeah. So like, I don't want to figure things out. I do want to maintain that sense of like, suspense and that surprise, but
Hmm.
I do sit there with a bit of with a bit of a smirk on my face, kind of like, okay, I think I know what's gonna go down, but I'm not gonna dig too deep on it.
Yeah, I think people can sort of get a feeling for where things head. Not precisely, but uh, I think in a lot of ways, this people are more hooked on the execution rather than the actual end
Oh
result.
yeah.
Even though like that's not saying that you guys it's a super predictable ending. It's not saying that, but or more so that like people think they understand the trajectory of the series, and
Yeah.
so they just enjoy seeing it happen. The train wreck in slow motion. Or maybe it's a train sliding into a station smoothly. It's hard, we don't know yet.
I want it to be a train wreck, but
What
we'll see.
about two trains sliding into the station smoothly at the same time into each other,
Yes.
resulting in a train wreck?
Okay, that works. I'll accept that one. I'll accept that. That
All
would
right,
be
we'll
really
see.
cool.
And that is not I swear someone's going to hear that and think that's like a parallel universe theory. That's not what I was implying there.
Just I can't wait to hear what people are gonna say. Just listening to this interview and be like, okay, there's got to be a clue here. There's got to be a clue somewhere. But I mean, I'm wanting a clue. I'm gonna be the one that's gonna be digging for it. If I do find something out, you guys won't know at all. So,
Don't worry on that one.
well, Kane, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to sit
Totally.
down and
I'm
chat
actually
with me.
standing.
Or it's standing, and so am I actually. So,
Whoa, you're a stand-up desk user?
yes.
Let's go.
You can
That's
tell
awesome. That's
it's
awesome. My respect for you is just flown through the roof.
so like at my ripe old age, I have to really force myself to stand up. I can't be sitting down all the time, honestly, man. But yeah, now that we fully established that I never sit down and I never take naps and I have too much coffee, I just wanted to say thank you to each and every one of you for listening in and supporting the channel as well. If you enjoyed watching, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel to catch us next time. I hope to see you again, and as always, take care, peace. I'm out of here. Bye bye.